As it has kept lots of teacher POP life's unfair moments are not life's final moments. There will always come a time when you face situations that make no sense, when you give your all and still lose, when you love deeply and still get hurt. STHDLP lots OFPOPLE, when you stay faithful and still end up feeling God. It's human to ask me, why now? But the truth is, unfairness is not the end of your story. SITSHLPLOS off OTR OPLE. It's only a chapter that God uses to shape the masterpiece He's creating out of your life. What feels like the worst moment of your life may be the moment that heaven starts rearranging everything for your breakthrough. SITSHLP we often look at our pain and assume it's punishment, but what if it's preparation? What if the things that broke you were meant to build you into someone you were always meant to become? When life seems unfair, your emotions scream that something is wrong, but God whispers that something deeper is being made right. The process of transformation never looks fair while it's happening. The caterpillar may think it's being buried alive. But it's actually being transformed into something that can fly. The same happens to us. Those moments where you feel trapped, unseen, or left behind are the exact places where faith begins to breathe. You don't grow when everything makes sense. You grow when you have every reason to quit but choose to keep trusting. The greatest stories of redemption are born from seasons of unfairness. Joseph didn't end up in the palace by walking through open doors. He got there by surviving betrayal, false accusation, and years of being misunderstood. What looked like the end of his dream was only the route to his destiny. You may be standing in a moment that feels like the end, but it's not. You may have been lied about, rejected, or overlooked, but none of that can cancel what God has planned for you. Life can be cruel, people can be unfair. And circumstances can break your heart, but the power of God ensures that no injustice can have the final word. What others meant for harm, He knows how to use for good. The very stone that was meant to bury you becomes the foundation for your next season. The things that were meant to silence you become the reason your voice carries power and compassion. Every tear, every disappointment. Every no that left you confused was shaping the soil for something better to grow. Sometimes you're asking for answers while God is asking for trust. You see the pain, He sees the process. You see the loss, He sees the lesson. You see unfairness, He sees preparation. There are blessings that can only come after heartbreak, wisdom that only grows after loss, and strength that can only be born in the dark. What if the unfair moment you're facing is the very thing God will one day use as your testimony? One day you will stand on the other side and say, now I understand why it had to happen that way. But until then, you walk by faith. As well as SITSLPOPO lots of OSHRPOPLE, not by sight. You learn to believe that even when you can't trace His hand, you can still trust His heart. Don't allow unfairness to define your faith. Don't let bitterness take root in your soul. When you let go of what's unfair and hold on to what's true, you become unstoppable. Life may not give you explanations, but God gives you purpose. You might not get justice from people, but you will always find restoration in His timing. You may lose things, but you will never lose what He's destined for you. The story is not over just because it hurts. Sometimes that pain is the sign that something new is being birthed. When you choose to see beyond the unfairness, you start to see grace in every gap. You realize that what tried to break you is actually building your faith muscle. You learn that what you thought was rejection was really redirection. The blessing isn't always visible at first. It's hidden beneath the ashes of what felt unfair. The difference between those who stay stuck and those who rise is simple. One focuses on what was lost. The other focuses on what's still promised. The unfair moment may have knocked you down, but it cannot take away your destiny. There is nothing wasted in God's plan. Every delay, every betrayal, every heartbreak is a tool in His hands. Life's unfairness is temporary. God's faithfulness is eternal. The very thing you thought would destroy you is the thing that's teaching you endurance, humility, and strength. So, don't let the unfair moments make you bitter, let them make you better. When life seems unfair, that's your cue to trust even deeper, because what feels like an ending is usually the setup for a new beginning. One day, when you stand in the place of blessing, you'll look back and realize that the unfair moments were never the end. They were just the necessary steps toward the life you were born to live. Trust begins where understanding ends. Asati has papalos ofo ther popol e. It's easy to believe when everything makes sense, when the path is straight, and when your prayers are answered the way you hoped. But real trust, deep, unshakable trust, is born in the moments that make no sense at all. As its helpedlos ofo thr opel e. When the door you prayed for stays shut, when the person you loved walks away, when life throws you into confusion and your heart aches for answers that don't come, those are the moments where trust is tested, refined, and proven. It's one thing to say you believe in God's plan when you see progress. It's another to keep believing when everything looks like it's falling apart. True faith doesn't require proof. It requires surrender. It's the choice to believe that even in the dark, the light still exists. When you can't understand the why, trust becomes your lifeline. It's the quiet confidence that whispers, I don't know what's happening. But I know who's in control. It's standing firm in the middle of chaos, holding on to peace that makes no sense to the natural mind. Because trust isn't built through explanations, it's built through experience. Every time you walk through uncertainty and come out stronger, every time you survive what you thought would break you, trust grows deeper. The next time life shakes you, you remember, I've been here before. And he carried me through. That memory becomes your anchor. There are times when you'll beg for clarity, but heaven will stay silent. Not because God has abandoned you, but because he's inviting you to grow. As well as he's teaching you to walk by faith, not by sight. If he gave you every answer, you would lean on your logic, not on his love. If he showed you every step, you wouldn't need to rely on his presence. Trust begins where understanding ends, because that's the only place faith can breathe freely. It's in those moments that you stop demanding explanations and start finding intimacy. You stop chasing control and start resting in assurance. Some of the most powerful breakthroughs come after seasons of confusion. You'll look back and realize that the times you didn't understand were actually the times he was protecting you, redirecting you, and preparing you for something better. As well as sometimes God hides was not to frustrate you, but to fortify you. If you saw the whole picture too soon, you try to fix it your way, and that would ruin what he's building. That's why trust requires humility. The humility to say, God, I don't get it, but I'll stay faithful. I'll wait even when waiting hurts. I'll believe even when believing feels impossible. Understanding is comfortable. But trust is powerful. Understanding gives you control. Trust gives you peace. When you finally let go of needing to know everything, you create space for miracles. You begin to rest in the truth that every unanswered question still sits in the hands of a God who never fails. Sometimes the greatest act of faith is simply refusing to panic. As of O2L or POPLE, you learn to replace. Why is this happening? With I know this will work for good. You stop analyzing every detail and start appreciating the mystery of divine timing. When you trust beyond understanding, SSIT has helped lots of OTERPLE. You stop living in reaction to circumstances and start living in alignment with purpose. You may not see how it will all come together, but you start to sense that it will. You stop doubting in the dark what was promised in the light. You start realizing that the silence is not absence, it's strategy. God doesn't explain every storm because some lessons are only learned in the rain. Some blessings are only born through pain. And when the clouds finally part, you see that every moment of confusion was necessary to reveal your strength. The most beautiful kind of peace isn't found when life is perfect. It's found when life is chaotic, but you choose to trust anyway. As well as it's choosing to believe that there's purpose in the pause and wisdom in the wait. It's knowing that just because you can't understand something doesn't mean it isn't working in your favor. What you call a setback. As well as heaven calls preparation. What you call delay, heaven calls development. And what you call unfair, heaven calls alignment. So when your heart is heavy and your mind is full of questions, remember this trust is not blind, it's brave. It's choosing to rest in the unseen. It's knowing that even when your plan falls apart, God's plan never does. Trust begins where understanding ends, because understanding is limited, but his wisdom is limitless. Let go of the need to know how and when, and hold on to the truth of who. Because when you trust him beyond what you can see, that's when you step into peace that can't be shaken, blessings that can't be stolen. And a faith that can't be broken. Delay is not denial. Those 4 words hold a power that can completely shift how you see your life, your faith, and your waiting seasons. SIT has helped lots. OOT, RPIL. It's easy to get discouraged when things don't happen on your timeline. You pray, you plan, you put in the effort, and still nothing seems to move. Doors remain closed, opportunities slip away. SIT has helped low OPLE, and silence fills the space where you expected answers. In those moments, your heart begins to wonder if God even heard you. But the truth is the silence isn't a sign of absence. It's often a sign of preparation. SYT has KLP LAFO TRPOP. Just because you can't see progress doesn't mean God isn't working. He's not denying you. He's developing you. Every blessing has a timing, and rushing it can ruin it. Sometimes you're asking for something you're not yet ready to carry. It's not that God doesn't want to give it. It's that he loves you too much to give it too soon. SIT has helped lots off OTSHR. A delay doesn't mean the dream is dead. It means the foundation is still being built. Think about a seed buried in the ground. It looks like nothing is happening, but under the surface, roots are forming. Growth is taking place in secret. SIT has halpel losar poopeli. That's how God works in your life. You can't always see the roots of your preparation, but when the time is right, what's been planted will rise in power and beauty. The waiting season tests your faith like nothing else. STS kablos ofto or propi. It exposes what you truly believe. Do you trust God only when things happen fast, or do you trust him enough to wait in silence? Waiting is not wasted time when your heart is surrendered. It's in the waiting that your character is built. As well as SIT has helped loss or populi. Your motives are purified and your strength is refined. The delay is not meant to break your spirit. It's meant to build your endurance. Sometimes God is protecting you from something you don't yet understand. You think you're ready. SIT has helped lots or piopeli, but he sees what's ahead. He knows that the door you're trying to force open might lead to disappointment or destruction. So instead of giving you what you want, he gives you what you need. Time, maturity, and wisdom. SIT has helped lots OFOTSRPL. There's a powerful truth hidden in every delay. Divine timing is not slow, it's perfect. What seems late to you is right on schedule in heaven's calendar. The moment you start trusting that peace replaces panic. You stop comparing your journey to others because you realize that your story has its own rhythm, its own pace, and its own appointed season. Just because someone else reached their breakthrough before you doesn't mean you've been forgotten. SIT has God's blessings are not limited resources. There's more than enough grace for everyone. Your time is coming. It's just being prepared in silence. The greatest mistake people make during delay is giving up too soon. SIT has kelped lachopef OTRPO. They walk away just before the door opens. They lose faith just before the blessing arrives. Don't let impatience rob you of what's already yours. The enemy can't take what God has promised you, but he can tempt you to quit before it comes. SIT has helped lots of OTSHR. That's why you need to stand firm in faith, even when everything around you says it's over. Because it's not over, it's being orchestrated. Every delay you've faced, every unanswered prayer, IT has helped a lot of OTRPOPLE. Every long night of wondering if it will ever happen is part of a process designed to prepare you for something far greater than what you asked for. Sometimes you have to thank God for the delay. As well as he has helped loss OFOTFRPOPLE, because it's the reason you'll be able to handle the blessing when it comes. If he gave it to you before your heart was ready, it might have crushed you. If he opened that door before you learned patience, pride might have taken over. IST has helped loss OFOTR popeli. Delay protects you from premature promotion. It ensures that when your blessing arrives, you're strong enough to keep it. So instead of asking, when will it happen? Start asking. What are you teaching me while I wait? That shift in mindset turns frustration into faith. You begin to see the delay not as a punishment, but as an investment. God investing in your growth, your depth, and your destiny. The truth is, God's delays are never random. They are strategic, intentional, and filled with purpose. He's not ignoring your prayers. He's aligning every detail so that when the time comes, everything fits perfectly. One day, the very thing that took years to happen will make perfect sense. You'll see how every no, every delay, every closed door led you to something better than you imagined. And you'll realize that the waiting wasn't wasted. It was sacred. So hold on in the waiting. Don't let the delay make you doubt the promise. Every second of silence is still working in your favor. Remember, delay is not denial, it's divine preparation. It's proof that God is writing something worth waiting for. When the right moment comes, what once felt impossible will unfold effortlessly, and you'll know it was worth every tear, every prayer, and every long night of trusting without seeing. As IT has of OTSHRPOP. The delay wasn't to stop you, it was to strengthen you. And when your time comes, nothing and no one will be able to stop what God has already decided is yours. Your pain has a purpose. S-I-T has kelpi lots of O-T-H-R P-O-P-L-E. Those words might not make sense in the middle of your heartbreak, but one day when you look back, you'll realize they were true all along. Pain feels cruel, it feels lonely. A-H-Helpi-Dos of O-T-H-R-P-O-P-E. And it often makes you question everything you knew about faith, strength, and love. But pain is not wasted. Every tear you've cried, every night you couldn't sleep. S-I-T-S-U-B lost R-P-O-P-O. Every moment your heart felt like it was breaking apart. None of it is meaningless. Pain has a way of stripping away the superficial and forcing you to see what really matters. It teaches you who you are, what you believe. S-Bel-I-T has a Help-He loves O-T-H-E-R-P-O-P-L-E, and who you can trust when everything else falls apart. There are moments when life hits you so hard that you can't breathe. You pray for the pain to stop, you ask for the storm to end, but instead of calming, it grows stronger. S-T has a Help-He loves O-T-R-P-O-P-L-E, and in that place, you begin to wonder if God even sees what you're going through. But here's the truth. He does. He's not absent in your pain. He's present in it. Sometimes God allows you to walk through the fire not to burn you, but to purify you. He's removing what's holding you back, shaping your heart, and preparing you for the place He's taking you. Growth rarely happens in comfort. It happens when you're stretched, challenged, and forced to rely on something greater than your own strength. Pain has a way of awakening purpose. It gives birth to compassion, empathy, and understanding. S-I-T has S-L-P-A-T-L-P Lasso O-T-H-E-R-P-O-P-E-L. The things that once broke you often become the things that equip you to help others heal. Your story becomes a bridge for someone else's survival. What you endured gives your voice, but your faith depth, and your purpose meaning. Sometimes God allows you to experience deep pain so that when you speak, it carries authenticity. People don't connect to perfection, they connect to honesty. And the ones who've been through the fire carry a strength that can't be fake. S-I-T has helped loss, O-F-O-T-E-R-O-P-E-L. Your scars tell a story of survival, not defeat. When you're in pain, it's hard to see beyond the moment. But one of the greatest acts of faith is to believe that something good can still come out of something painful. The same soil that buries a seed is the soil that grows it. You may feel buried right now, but you're not dead. You're being planted. Pain is often the signal that transformation is taking place beneath the surface. Every broken piece is being rearranged into something more beautiful, more complete, and more aligned with who you were created to be. You don't have to understand the why, to trust the who. Sometimes pain is God's way of shifting your direction. The doors that close painfully are often protecting you from something you can't yet see. S-I-T-S, help, the loss, O-T-F, P-O-P. The people who leave you might be clearing the path for divine alignment. The rejection that crushed your heart might be redirection toward your real purpose. What feels like loss is often liberation. S-I-T has help, loss, O-A-P-A-R-O-P-E. You're being set free from what couldn't go with you to the next level. Pain exposes what's temporary and strengthens what's eternal. It's a refining fire that burns away fear, pride. S-A-T has help, P-T-L-A-P-A-S, O-F-O-T-H-P-E-L-E, and doubt until all that's left is faith, pure and unshakable faith. The hardest thing about pain is not knowing when it will end. But what if the goal isn't just to get through it, but to grow through it? S-I-T-S, help, O-T-H-E-R-P-O-P-L-E. What if this painful season is building endurance in you that will sustain you when your blessing arrives? The same way gold must be refined by fire to shine, your spirit must sometimes walk through hardship to reveal its strength. S-I-T has to help Allah, so T-R-P-L-E. Don't let the pain make you bitter, let it make you better. Don't waste your suffering by turning it into resentment, turn it into revelation. S-I-T has help, lots, O-T-H-R-P-O-P-L-E. There's a reason why the most powerful people are often the ones who've suffered the most. They've learned how to turn pain into purpose. Every pain you've endured is shaping the person you're becoming. A-S-M-A-L-A-S-I-T-S-K-L-P, loss, O-T-H-R-P-O-P-L-E. It's preparing you to handle the weight of your destiny. The lessons you've learned in the dark will become the wisdom you carry in the light. The strength you're building now will be the same strength that carries others one day. S-M-I-L-L-S-I has help, do lots, O-T-R-P-O-P-L-E. You may not see it now, but one day you'll thank God for the pain that pushed you to grow, for the heartbreak that deepened your compassion, and for the disappointment that taught you dependence on His plan. So, S-I-T has lots of O-T-R-P-O-P-L-E. Don't despise your pain, study it. Let it teach you, let it refine you. Because pain, when surrendered to God, always produces power. What you thought was the end is actually the beginning of something new. S-I-T has help a loss of O-T-R-P-O-P-E. The purpose behind your pain is not just travel, it's transformation. You're being shaped into someone stronger, wiser, and more compassionate than before. And when you come out of this season, Opally, you won't just have survived it, you'll have become someone new because of it. That's the quiet miracle hidden inside every hurt pain, never leaves you the same, but when you trust God with it, it always leads you to purpose. Faith is choosing a proof. It's choosing to rest in what you can't see, trusting that even without visible evidence, something good is unfolding behind the scenes. We live in a world that teaches us to believe only in what can be proven, measured, or explained. But faith doesn't operate in that realm. It exists beyond understanding, beyond logic, beyond the limits of reason. It asks you to surrender your need for answers and lean into trust. It's saying, even if I don't see it yet, I believe it's already done. That's not blind optimism, it's spiritual confidence. It's knowing that God's word carries more weight than your circumstances. There are moments when you look at your life and everything will seem uncertain. The plan you thought you had falls apart. The prayers you've prayed seem unanswered. The path you expected to walk suddenly disappears. In those moments, your natural instinct is to panic, to question, to demand proof that everything will be okay. But that's where faith whispers, be still. Faith isn't about having all the answers. It's about resting in the truth that the answers already exist, even if you can't see them yet. Choosing peace over proof doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop carrying what was never yours to control. The world says, show me and I'll believe. Faith says, I believe even when I can't see. That's where true peace is found. Proof may calm your mind for a moment, but peace anchors your soul forever. When you live by proof, your emotions rise and fall with your circumstances. When you live by faith, your heart stays steady no matter what's happening around you. You stop reacting to every storm because you know the storm is not stronger than the one who controls it. You stop chasing signs because you trust the one who gives them. Proof is temporary comfort, peace is eternal strength. Faith isn't about ignoring reality, it's about choosing a higher reality. It's standing in the middle of chaos and declaring that everything will work together for your good, not because you see how, but because you know who's in charge. That kind of peace doesn't come from evidence, it comes from relationship. The more you know God, the less you need proof. The more you walk with Him, the more you realize that His silence doesn't mean absence, His delay doesn't mean denial. And His plan doesn't need your understanding to be perfect. Faith matures when you stop chasing signs and start resting in trust. Sometimes you won't get the proof you're praying for because God wants you to learn how to walk without it. If you always needed evidence to believe, you'd never develop the strength of faith. Proof removes the need for trust, but trust produces peace that no proof can match. That's why some of your greatest blessings are born in seasons of uncertainty. It's in those moments that your faith is stretched, your heart is tested, and your peace becomes unshakable. You realize that the outcome doesn't determine your peace, your faith does. When you choose to rest instead of react, you're declaring that your hope isn't built on what you see, but on what you believe. Peace doesn't come from knowing the future, it comes from knowing God. It's a decision, not a reaction. Every time you face a situation that you have two choices: to fight for control or to rest in faith. And the irony is, peace shows up the moment you stop trying to create it. When you surrender the need for proof, you open the door for divine calm to fill your heart. You stop trying to force answers and instead allow truth to reveal itself in its own time. Faith doesn't rush, it trusts. It waits with confidence that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. Think about it. When you have peace, you can face anything. Proof may give you comfort, but peace gives you power. It keeps you grounded when life becomes uncertain. It allows you to move forward even when you don't have all the details. It's what helps you smile in the storm and keep believing when others give up. Proof fades when circumstances change. But peace remains when everything falls apart. That's why faith chooses peace. It's the only thing strong enough to carry you through seasons of confusion. So when you don't have proof that your prayers are working, choose peace. When you don't see results, choose peace. When the waiting feels endless and the silence feels heavy, choose peace. Because peace is the evidence of faith. It's the sign that even without answers, you still trust the plan. And in time, the proof will come. not because you demanded it, but because you believed long enough to see it. Faith always brings results, but peace allows you to endure until they appear. Choosing peace over proof isn't weakness. H as well, as I has helped lots of OTHRPOPLE. It's the highest form of strength. It's saying, I don't need to see the miracle to believe it's on the way. That's the kind of faith that moves mountains, the kind that turns waiting into worship. A hasty SITHPOPLE, and the kind that transforms your life into a living testimony of divine peace. The blessed life comes through surrender. Those words hold a quiet truth that most people struggle to embrace. Asiti has helped los of OTRPOPL, because surrender sounds like weakness in a world that glorifies control. We are taught from the beginning to fight for what we want, to push harder, to make things happen, to never give up control of our circumstances. Yet the more we cling, the more exhausted we become. The more we try to control everything, the more peace slips through our fingers. Surrender is not about quitting, it's about trusting. It's about releasing your need to manage what only God can handle and resting in the knowledge that His plan is better than your own. The moment you stop striving to make everything perfect is the moment you make space for divine power to move freely in your life. Surrender doesn't mean you stop dreaming. It means you stop forcing. It means you still work hard, still pray. Still believe, but you let go of the anxiety that demands instant results. You understand that you're not in charge of outcomes, only obedience. When you surrender, you trade confusion for clarity, fear for faith, and stress for stillness. As ITS helped laws of OTRPOPL, you realize that God doesn't need your control. He needs your cooperation. Many people delay their blessings because they're holding on too tightly to their own plans. They want God's will, but only if it fits their expectations. As ITS helped lots of OTRPOPL, real surrender happens when you can say, even if it doesn't happen the way I imagined, I still trust that it will be good. That's the kind of trust that unlocks blessings that control never could. The truth is, as ITH help lots of OTRPOP, as long as you're trying to direct everything, you're standing in the way of what God wants to do. It's like holding on to a rope that's burning your hands, refusing to let go because you're afraid of what will happen if you do. SITS help loss of OTRPOPL, but the pain doesn't stop until you release it. That's what surrender is, letting go of what's hurting you so that God can heal you. It's choosing to stop fighting battles that were never yours to fight. It's saying, Asati has helped loss, OTHRPOPLE. I don't have to understand, I just have to trust. The blessed life begins the moment you lay down your need to control and pick up your faith. There's a peace that comes only when you surrender. SIT has helped loss of OTHRPOPLE. It's the kind of peace that doesn't make sense, the kind that doesn't depend on whether things go your way. It's the peace that comes from knowing that no matter what happens, you're in the safest hands possible. SIT has helped lots, OTRPOPLE. Sometimes you're holding on so tightly to a plan, a person, or an outcome that you don't realize you're blocking your own blessing. God can't fill hands that are already full. When you finally release what's in your grip, SITS kelpid lasso of play, He replaces it with something far greater. The things you thought you couldn't live without often make room for the things you were always meant to have. Surrender is not a one-time decision, it's a daily posture. Every morning, you wake up and choose to trust again. You choose to let go of yesterday's disappointment and believe in today's mercy. You choose to stop worrying about tomorrow and rest in today's provision. That's how surrender becomes strength. It becomes a rhythm of faith. You stop living from reaction and start living from rest. You stop measuring your worth by outcomes and start measuring it by obedience. Because blessings don't flow through striving, they flow through surrender. Sometimes surrender feels painful because it means releasing something you love or letting go of something familiar. But God never takes something without the intention of replacing it with something better. You may lose what you wanted, but you'll gain what you truly need. You may have to release control of a plan. But you'll gain peace that no plan could have given you. The moment you stop trying to be the author of your story and let God write it, your life starts to align with divine timing. What once felt delayed suddenly begins to move. Not because you forced it, because you finally stopped resisting it. Surrender is the bridge between your struggle and your breakthrough. It's the doorway to the blessed life because it frees you from the illusion that you have to figure everything out. The truth is, you were never meant to carry it all alone. The weight of control is too heavy for human hands. But when you surrender, you invite grace to take over. You begin to see that what you once feared losing was never yours to keep in the first place. It was a chapter meant to shape you, not define you. So, Asatias helpi loss of OTR PPE. When life doesn't go according to your plan, don't panic, pause. Take a breath and surrender again. Say, God, I release this to you. I trust your timing, I trust your will. And in that moment, you'll feel the weight lift. Asway asitias helpid lot so TRPO peli. The peace return and the fear fade, because the blessed life isn't about getting everything you want. It's about trusting the one who knows exactly what you need. When you live surrendered, you live free. Itiash helpid loss off otecher pao pai. You stop chasing blessings and start attracting them, because surrender opens the floodgates of favor. Control may give you a sense of power, but surrender gives you the reality of peace. And that's where the true blessing lies.